have to like go on your own to make more research on and have deeper understanding of everything. But I'm going to try my best here, and I also appreciate if you ask questions. It will help me know what to tell you or how best to explain some things. So I'm a full stack product designer. I am more focused on research, growth design, and product management. I like working with data, and I find myself doing things that doing designs that actually have something to do with the business goals, which I believe is a way to like design experiences that would give us give the company, not only the users, they will give the company or who you are designing for winning business results. So I'm currently working with Web3D Media. We build decentralized apps for creators, talents in the new web. That's the Web3 space. So I'll be diving into today's class. What we are basically going to be covering is covering UX design, because I want to set the mood for UX research. I believe Manuel has covered UX design, UI design, all of those stuff with you, right? Please help me confirm that he has covered that, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just going to give brief explanation on UX design. Then we'll go into UX research, and I will explain types, methods of UX research, deliverables from UX research, and our assignments. Okay, so should I throw it to the house? What do you understand by UX design? Like, what's UX design to you? Would anyone love to like answer that? Is this something you're willing? Will you like to like try yourself and be like, UX design is this? Yeah, like basically your understanding of UX design. I need to share one single tab so I can see what's going on in the chat, because I feel like there are messages, or is I don't know. 1 minute. Oh, okay. You're raising hands. Give me a moment. Let me share a tab so I'll be able to like see the persons I'm interacting with, and I'll be able to call your names. Okay. Okay, so the first person I can see here, can we see my screen first of all?
Yes.
Okay, the first person I can see here is Praise Amarachi. Would you like to unmute and answer?
Yes, good evening.
How you
Okay,
doing?
fine. UX stands for user experience. It's basically the experience or experiences user has when they interact with a product, be it physical or digital product.
Okay. Who else wants to answer? Because I see a lot of hands raised earlier. Lesson says UX design is the feeling a user has when using and navigating through a product. Thank you also for that. Is there anyone else that wants to contribute?
Yes, UX design, it's a design that involves the user experience. So in UX design, you have the user in mind, and so it's often driven by research, and that research between different users or the target audience.
All right. Thank you. You're all right. When it comes to UX design, there's no right or wrong answer. It basically that's giving justification to what UX is all about. Your perception of something, be it a product, be it broom, be it anything that you definitely want to use to like make your life easier. So UX I have here UX is concerned with perception we want to give user of a product about that product. Like, how do you want the user to feel when they are using a product? What do you want them to be able to do? Like, what cues do you want to give them when they are using a product? That's all the things that UX design covers. So then UX, oh, I've actually jumped steps. I wanted to explain UX as a word first, like user experience, then UX design, then who a UX designer is. So we've explained UX design in our own ways. So I said here I have it's a process a designer goes through in order to build these perceptions for users, like what you guys have explained. You said the feeling, you said defining experience, like those processes are what UX design actually entails. Then a UX designer is the person that does all of these things for the user. So the next part is actually on the topic for today. I know very well that in the resources shared with you, we have it as user research. So I'm going to come to that later. So UX research is a systematic inquiry that a UX designer, which we've explained earlier, goes through to build perception for products, to build these feelings you've explained, to build which what would I use to even like, let me say, user, to build behaviors, to build attitudes, to build like feeling what you want user to like get from your products. A product perception actually comprises of the look, the feel, and the functionality of that product, like what's happening behind the scene, what's happening in front of the user, and what's happening in the user's mind. So UX research is carried out to design good experiences for products. It takes into consideration the behavior of the target user, because this is not like just a random user or anybody. It has to do with somebody you want to solve a problem for. So you need to like have that somebody in mind when you are trying to do anything for that somebody. So the motivation behind what that somebody wants to do, that's a user, and what will actually trigger the user to want to do that thing or to want to take an action. I hope I'm communicating rather.
Yes, you're communicating.
Okay. And if you have question, please feel free to just hit the mic. Sorry, what's that? Raise your hand rather. I've forgotten the word for that. So I said I'll come to UX research and user research. Because I have to do this because we actually in the resources, if you've gone through it, we have we have it as user research, and I'm here with title UX research. So UX research is basically like all encompassing. It has to do with, it's focused on that product or service or that thing you want to do, while user research is focused on the person you are doing that thing for. It's focused on how that person is thinking, it's focused on what that person is doing and how that person is doing that thing they want to do. And most times, which is why we are not still wrong by naming that, naming the resources or naming this module user research, most time people, they mean the same thing. People regard user and UX research and user research as the same thing. So moving on, there's still another term that because I called it user, it means that like I'm trying to research on who are actually going to use a product. So, and market research here now, it's kind of contradicting if you hear the word, because market has to do with the people. So you think that is the persons you are researching, whereas it's actually what those persons want that you want to research with, that you are hoping to, or let me say you are aiming to achieve with market research. What user research is you checking on why or how a user is using a product, or why users want what they want. So market research answers what users want, and user research answers why and how user wants what they want, or why they are doing what they are doing. So before I move on to this part, do we have any questions so far?
Nope, I don't have any.
Okay. So we'll move on to the research UX research methods. So UX research method are basically the ways a designer or UX designer use when like making this inquiry. You know, earlier I said UX research is a systematic inquiry. So the approaches a UX designer used to make these inquiries are what UX research methods entails. So we have different kinds of classification for UX research methods. Broadly, like everywhere, it's classified as qualitative and quantitative research methods. Contextually, if you want to narrow it down to what you do as a UX designer, it's classified into generative research and evaluative research. Then it can also be classified into attitudinal and behavioral. All of this classification actually lead you to the same result if you look at them from probably a tree point of view or a three-dimensional point of view. I'll explain that later. So for qualitative research methods, I believe you understand what that entails. It has to do with it has to do with the behaviors, which is bringing us down to the attitudinal and behavioral rather. It's bringing us down there because qualitative has to do with things you can't measure, things that has to do with how persons feel, what they are doing, like you having a discussion with somebody, that's like you getting qualitative data from that person. Whereas if you push out things that you want to get clicks or you want to get numbers from like surveys, that's going to be you doing quantitative research. Then generative research is when you want to actually try to get something, like it's a research you do to build something, like build new products, new ideas, or it's just something that you use to generate something, just like the word implies. Evaluative also, it's clear, it's just how what you do to like test something, to like evaluate something, just the way it implies. Then attitudinal, this attitudinal and behavioral, they are both inside qualitative and quantitative, or generative and evaluative. Attitudinal has to do with what users tell you they want. For instance, I'm doing an interview. Whatever the user tells me has to do with their attitude. But then behavioral is what the user is actually doing. Like, sometimes the things you say are different from the things you do. So that's why most of the time you hear people say that the user is not always right, or you don't always have to listen to everything the user say. It's better you observe the user and see what they're doing, because sometimes they are doing a different thing, but they're saying a different thing, which is normal because we are all human and we are naturally biased. So I was talking about three-dimensional point of view or three-point of view. I think I kind of explained three-point of view by three-point of view has to do with, like, I have qualitative here, I have quantitative. Then under qualitative, I come up with research methods that are like that stem from attitudes that will give me result of users' attitude, or that will give me result of users' behaviors. But I'm dwell more on generative and evaluative research, then I would connect them to qualitative and quantitative research, as well as attitudinal and behavioral research methods. So for three-dimensional, I got this from NN Group. I've forgotten how they pronounce the full name of their name. Forgive me. So if you look at behavioral, I'm going to explain this in high level, because I'm going to explain deeper later when we get into the whole thing. Looking at this, the research methods are arranged. I
Yes.
hope you are still with me. Okay, please, if I'm too fast, you should just
Yes,
notify
sure.
me so that I would consider, or let me say, I'll calm down. I don't know the right word, but it gets me. So behavioral now has to do with like you testing. If I mention testing, you can connect that to evaluating. So testing has to do with evaluating, checking out something. So behavioral now, they've classified usability testing, eye tracking, clickstream analytics, A/B testing, usability benchmarking, remote moderated testing, unmoderated testing. Any of these things that you feel that I should explain and I did not explain it, you can raise it for me to. You can raise and ask me later, or when there is room to ask question, and there is always room to ask question, by the way. So we have field studies, we have contextual inquiry. These are all, and if you look at all of these things, most of the behavioral will give you qualitative data. It's only few of the behavioral research methods that will give you quantitative data, like clickstream. Now you want to check the number of persons that click something. A/B testing is also somehow qualitative because you are actually checking between what use what let me say what method or what. I don't want to explain at this level, but it's basically you testing two things to know which one actually converts. Then attitudinal, here they are saying focus group. Focus group, you are basically listening to users, so that's why it's attitude. Listening has to do, user is telling you what they want or what they are thinking, so it's their attitude. Interview also gives you that kind of result, and all of those things. If you look at focus group and interviews, they are generative because you are trying to like get something from them. So I will just move on. Let me not explain everything at this point because we are going in one by one. So generative research methods are used when you want to build new ideas, when you want to build new products, or when you want to build new experiences. For instance, there is a new feature that wants to be built in maybe one popular app, you are going to use generative research method. Like this, I use generative research method and evaluative research method to classify it and explain further because I want it to be easy when you are making decisions. When you have a problem, you know that this is a new problem. This problem is for a new idea. This problem is for a new product. This problem is for a new experience. You will know that, okay, I need to use generative research method. But if you look at it from qualitative and quantitative point of view, it's kind of a lot difficult to choose what research method to use. But if you look at it from this is the kind of problem I want to solve, then you'll be able to look at it and you'll be able to like get the kind of research methods to use to address that problem. So under generative research method, I have ethnographic field studies, contextual inquiries, in-depth user interviews, focus groups, surveys. These surveys, I'm kind of skeptical about it because it can actually be it can serve as a evaluative research as well as generative research. This is where we now start having quantitative data and qualitative data. I hope I'm not confusing us. Can we hear me? Am I confusing us?
Yes,
I
I
can
can
hear
hear you,
you,
ma'am.
ma.
Yes. Okay. So
No, yeah.
ethnographic field studies now has to do with you actually going down to the user's location where the user is to kind of immerse yourself. This is the definition of where the users choose to feel what the user is feeling. So you immerse yourself to observe the user, their behavior, how they interact. You do this so that you will be able to like know or know their major problems, be able to differentiate between their wants and their needs, or you'll be able to differentiate between what they are saying and what they're actually doing because you are there observing them and you're feeling the pains they are feeling and you're actually in their space. You will be able to like see how they are thinking and all of those things. Then contextual inquiry, this is also a form of ethnographic study in a way, but it's kind of more in-depth observation or in interview with a small user group for you to like get a deeper understanding of what those users are doing and their behaviors. But now this is narrowed to a problem, like you have something specific that you are checking these users behaviors or these users practices to inform your decision or to validate your ideas. So we have in-depth user interviews. Like all of them are like progressive for each other. Ethnographic, contextual is a form of ethnographic. In-depth interview is actually you can do in interviews from contextual inquiries too. So in-depth user interview is also a generative research method. It's like open discussion, but this time now it's more like you have one user, you're talking to one particular user, so you are open, you have the flexibility of asking them any kind of question you want to ask them. You have the flexibility of responding based on the answer the user has given you. You are not rigid. You, if a user answer gives you an answer that actually is giving you cues to some cues that are tailored towards the problem you're actually trying to solve, you'll be able to you'll be flexible enough to like answer. And if the user is not, you also be flexible enough to ask a better question. I've not covered how to do all of these things in this class. It's basically you having understanding of all of these things and knowing them, and also taking it up to yourself to learn how to do these things. Then focus group is having a group of users discuss issues, concerns about feature of a user interface, or like maybe feature of what you want to build or something. You can just have a focus group. That means you people are then there, in this case there's going to be somehow like a facilitator or moderator who is controlling the discussion so that people don't shy away from the goal or the focus of the group, which is why it's called focus group in the first place. So etc, like make personal findings on generative research, and also if you want to like expand more, you can check attitudinal research methods, behavioral research methods, and qualitative. You are going to see the same research methods, these types I've explained. You're going to see them in different, like in either of all of those things, in either of all of those research methods. So for evaluative, it's used when you're testing something that is already existing idea, already existing products, or already existing experiences. So we have types of this. We have usability testing, we have A/B testing, we have preference testing, we have metric analysis, we have card sorting, we have heuristic evaluations, and other more. So for I'm just going to explain this here. I didn't put everything here. I was going to explain them. From the word usability testing and from all of your learning so far, I believe you've gotten an understanding of what usability testing is. It's more like you making inquiry about a feature or a product you've designed or built in order to see how usable it is for your user. Let me say how easy it is for your users to use, and what their challenges are while using it, and what areas do you need to improve after the tests. So we have A/B testing. A/B testing is more like you have two let me say you have two variation. I'm going to make an instance with buttons. You have a hero section and you have two buttons. Would this be more okay if I have hold on I think it's going to be more okay if I'm demonstrating what I'm saying for some of them. Those that I'll be able to demonstrate since they are not entirely rigid. So I'm trying to check your previous classes to if I can use something from there. But A/B testing is basically you checking, like having two variations of something. What was that? Having two variations of something, or let me say a UI. You have two variations of UI, then you're checking which one actually sits well with the user, which one is are the users welcoming more, which one is more usable to the user, which one does the users actually feel comfortable, or which one did they all go with. Companies like Netflix use A/B testing a lot to kind of decide on what features to put on their platform, or how best to present some of the informations they present on their platform. So we have usability and preference testing. This preference testing is different from A/B testing because A/B testing has to do with visuals. Preference testing is for you actually researching on what would the user prefer. It's not entirely like you having two things and you're telling the users to choose from those two things. You're actually trying to know what would the user prefer. And you can do more research on the differences between preference testing and A/B testing, but they are not the same thing. Then metric analysis is when you've actually done all of these things, or you've built what you've built, and you are trying to you set some there. Before you design, you actually have like goals, business goals, or you have KPIs, key performance indicators, that you are following in order to or you want to use to measure the experience you've designed. So metric analysis is a way for you to actually check on those, to measure your experience, to see which one works and which one didn't work, which one you need to change. Okay. It is done to ensure your design decisions that you made are actually let me say actually valid. Like you are doing it to validate that you are getting the results you want to get. Or if you do a metric analysis for, let me say, you're checking, are users happy with this thing you built. If happiness is what the metric you want to use to measure a product, if users are happy with it, are users engaging, are users clicking that button. So metric analysis is all under metric analysis, and there are tools that you use to do that, and there are measures. There's what we call Google Heart framework. Actually, didn't give 1 minute. So we still have card sorting and heuristic evaluation. But then before I come back, I think I've jumped. Before I come back, Google Hearts framework. I think the H is to measure the happiness, the E is to measure the engagements, the A is to measure, is it attention, R is to measure retention. I'm going to have to confirm all of those the meaning of, like, it's an acronym. The HEART is an acronym, so you use this to measure the user experience you've designed. And also be noting them down, things that I didn't give full information on. Note it down so that you'll be able to research further on them on your own time. So heuristic evaluation, this is like a normal this is like something that is, I won't say normal, but they are like standards that have been existing that you can use to check a platform. You can use to check a platform if it's meeting those standards. If those standards are, if the platform meets this standard, that means you followed a heuristics and you won't have a lot of issues with usability. There are standards of inspecting and evaluating the usability of a website or product, and this actually has to do with the experiences people get on the products and versus how the experience should be for a human, like human as a human being, how you interacting with this. So this standard actually come down to human level, like as a human being, why the decisions I'm making are actually, let me say, like the decisions you're making are things that will resonate with the user, things that are humane, things that like would be good for humans. So then card sorting is a method which you use to like sort things, like to arrange things. You basically allow users to like arrange things from their own point of view and see which one actually makes sense to them. So you allow them to actually, you also allow them to label the things if you want, depend on the kind of card sorting. All of these types of UX research methods have like a lot of information under them, like deeper things to learn under them. They have types of, for instance, heuristic evaluation has like we have like about 10 heuristics to measure, to do heuristic evaluation. For card sorting, we have types of card sorting. We have, I think there is moderated, unmoderated, there is open card sorting, there is closed card sorting. Even for interviews and all of those things I mentioned, there is you basically know the kind of interviews you want to do. Is it open? No, not even open. Is it rolling interviews? Is it interviews that you do one-on-one? All of those things. Is it moderated interviews? Is it unmoderated interviews? So before I move on to the next part, do we have any questions so far? Is the class boring? Can we hear me?
No, it's not boring.
Are we understanding? Am I blabbing?
No,
We're understanding.
Okay, I just want, please, let's make sure I'm not talking to myself. Please, let me not talk to myself. Please, please, please. So, I'll move on to the next step, which is deliverables of UX research. So deliverables of UX research are like the outcome of these research methods, the outcome of metric analysis, the outcome of heuristic evaluation, the outcome of card sorting. How are you representing this information you got after the research you carried out? That's what the deliverables is all about. So deliverables are the representations of UX research findings. So the deliverable can be in the form of persona, because you've done interview, you want to validate that person, you want to validate the persona. There are things that we call proto persona, like we have different type of persona. There is customer journey map. This based on your findings from probably which of the research method. Like you will be able to create all of these things after you've carried out this research, and these things in turn will help you inform any UI designer's design decision. And also if you are also a UI designer, it will help you inform your design decision, because you are basically you are basically providing a schema or a template or validation for whatever approach companies or let me not use companies, whatever approach you want to use to solve a problem, be it designing an interface, be it working on a service, be it a physical product, maybe a switch or a doorknob, any of those things, even broom. All of those things have UX. How you present the information, how you're able to present it to other persons to understand, because you wouldn't want them to, like, they didn't go through the interview process with you, they did not go through all of the research methods with you. You did that, and you want them to be able to understand what you've the information you've gathered. You want them to be able to see get a good representation of the information you've synthesized from the research. We have empathy map, we have user flow, you have user stories, you have information architecture, we have wireframe sketches, we have others that I didn't mention here, like affinity mapping. So I'm going to explain each of them one by one. Then if time permits, we'll be able to do other things. So a persona, this a random example of a persona, but I'm going to like set the tone for you to like get understand. This persona is for a student of a university, and the persona is also for like a mobile application, a radio mobile application. So a persona actually on a persona you want to cover the needs of the user, you want to cover the goals of the user, you want to cover the pain points of the user, you want to cover what's the behaviors of the user, you want to cover like the things the user states, things that stood out to you when you were talking to that user, maybe some quotes the user said. You can just quote the user, maybe something that stood out to the problem you are trying to solve. You also have the kind of devices those users are using. You have their name, and you can put demographics, like if your problem has emphasis on demographic, that's where the user is from or the user's age. You also have to cover that depending on the problem you're trying to solve. So I hope we're clear on that, clear on persona, or should I drill down on what I have here? Let me accept that person. Okay, so for instance, let me cite an example with this persona here. I have it as the user needs. This is like a basic persona. If you go online, you're going to see different kind of persona with different kind of touch points that is addressing, that is focused on, or let me say that is tailored towards the problem you're trying to solve. Sometimes it's not everything you need on a persona, or it's not everything. It should be focused on the problem you're trying to solve. The entries you are collecting should be based on the problem you're addressing, if you get what I mean. So the needs and goals of this person here, the person likes listening to music on FM. The person needs updates on what's going on in the school generally. I said this was for a student. The person wants to get information about tutorials on FM. The person wants to hear gists, entertainment news, scholarship opportunities from FM mostly. The person also, while talking to the person said, I'm really lazy about having to read anything that won't add to my CGPA. Like, for instance, out on their own, they can't go out to like browse or read about news, or if a press is being released, they don't want to read about it. They just want to listen to it somewhere and have it registered in their mind. Then their pinpoints now is always busy with academic activities. This person mostly find it difficult to read about things outside academics. This person is lazy to read news. So you want, when you are building what you want to build, you want those things to be able to like address some of these pain points or some of these needs. I won't say you want to address all of those things, all of the pain points or all of the needs. It has to like do with which one, and let me say catering come, being able to differentiate between what user is saying and what user is actually doing. Like what they are saying is different from what they want, be taking that into consideration to inform the team, the features they are building based on these goals and pain points and all of those things. You also want to consider like technographics now. Yeah, this help you know which platform to build on. Is the person does the person use Android most? So does that mean that I should build an Android app, like the app should be on Android alone, or should the app be on iOS? Or is the person a desktop person, like they like using desktop computer? So does that mean that the app has to be a website? Does that mean that the app has to be a software? All of those things. So you seeing how much this person is conversant with all of these devices helps you know that okay, this person is going to actually visit this platform on this device. This person is going to use this thing, or this person is going to spend so amount of this thing, or this person is well knowledgeable. Like, can this person use for instance, now we see tab is disabled. That means this person doesn't use tab at all, or this person is not very conversant with tab experience or desktop experience. This is a laptop. Just explain. I hope we got what I'm explaining. Like, we got everything I said.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Please let's be responding so I know I'm not talking to myself. So the next deliverable I have here is customer journey map. Customer journey map is more like let me say if I'm traveling, all the places I need to pass through to get to my destination. That's like the basic explanation for customer journey map. Can we see this the details of this customer journey map sample I have here? Like, can we read it? Are we able to read it? It's not clear. Okay, let me explain it. Okay, so this customer journey map, let me set the tone. This customer journey map is for a supermarket, like a physical supermarket. So they are trying to digitize their experience. Like the normal experience is I go into the supermarket, I pick the item I want to buy, I go to the counter, I make my payment. That's the normal experience. So they want to digitize this experience, and as they are digitizing this experience, they want to consider both the owners of the supermarkets, the work they are doing in the supermarket, and also the customers, what they came to do in the supermarkets. Are they happy, or are they able to achieve all of those things? So this is a customer journey map for to add product inventory. So it's you can, if you want, you see a lot of samples online for how customer journey map should be, but just get it clear, like it's the approach or the ways or the paths, and the word is the path, is the path a user takes to get to their destination, to get to that action they want to take. And you also will be, you if you want, you'll be able to like capture their emotion at every point, at every junction of this experience they are trying to deliver with for them or to them through this customer journey map. So customer journey map basically helps you design based on the user, based on what the user wants to do, and based on what you think, how you want to make it easy for them to get to where they are going. Do you want to increase, do you want them to take 10 steps to get to where they are going? Do you want them to like have a very short, do you want them to like do things quickly? So that's all the things customer journey map help you address. So here, the deep blue ones are the major actions the user takes to get to where they want to get. So in this journey map, we covered where the user is, like the current location, because this is a physical. Let me say this if an experience you want to digitize, so it's like a more like a physical product or something, but it's not physical products. So, like the environment, we capture the environment in the customer journey map. You are going to, if you check online, you're also going to see a lot of sophisticated, like more sophisticated than this. So at the office, on the web app, as you after you've done your research, you've done all of those research, you've interviewed the person in the store, you've spoken with them. How do they currently carry out transaction? How do they currently add product to inventory? You have asked them this. So you want to translate that experience into a digital platform now. So you now be like at the office on the web app, if you are building a web app. So in the web app, the admin goes to the web app for the first time, like they visit for the first time. This admin can be the owner, can be the salesperson. So what will the admin see when they go to the dashboard? You are answering that to the customer. Then you can say the admin sees the landing page. The admin sees a semi-active login button. The admin sees a button that says create account. All of those things. How is the admin feeling? Based on the information you got while interviewing them, were they happy? Like, does it sound like something they will be happy to be like? Are they happy to be there, like sitting in front of the laptop to like sign up or create account for the first time? So it captured the emotion. This person was like the emotion was neutral, you can also capture what's happening behind the scene in a customer journey, like what's happening in the development side, what needs to happen from the back end. If you understand front end, back end thing, the front stage is like what's on the UI, what's physical. Then the environment is basically where the user is and what the user is doing. So at the office, on the web app, still the user is still in that place. There are some experiences that requires the user to move around, so you can capture that if you are building that kind of if you are building for that kind of problem. So if the user should create should click create accounts, that would be the next action you are communicating. You are communicating in your customer journey. So if the user click on create account button, what happens? What do they see? They see an input field for email. They are able to see password field. They also see a button that says create account. This helps you narrow down all the things you need to put on an interface, because you actually know what the user wants to achieve. You know what the user wants to achieve. So you are going to like have a streamlined thinking process to put those things on the interface for the users to be able to interact with and to achieve their aim, or to like take those actions you want them to take. So for at the back end now, like this one now, we have a backstage, what's happening behind the scene. We said the database generates data for the admin. That's if the user has entered their email, the user has entered their password. So in the back end, the database captures all of this information and stores them. So when the user enters this information, what's the next thing that happened? They look at the dashboard and they are logged in. That was what it means, because if you are logged in, you'll be able to see the dashboard. So the user sees the dashboard. On the dashboard, they're able to see the like what do you want to see. And all of these things are informed from the research you've done previously, from the interviews, from the talking, from the observation. So you on like in real life, what would the user let me say, what would the user want to see in real life, in reality? How are they seeing this dashboard? What's representing dashboard in real life? Those kind of questions will help you know what to put on the interface. So they see a dashboard with overview, where see overview on the dashboard. This overview has to do with maybe probably if they have plenty employees. Since this is an admin platform, they have plenty employees. They are going to see the number of users. They are going to see the number of products they have in their shop, if it's or in the supermarket. They'll be able to also select products to check the details of the product. In this case now, they can see the expiration date of the product. They can see details of how much the product costs, all of those things. And they can also see support and other features on the web app. So we deduce this to be a confusing, as like you're just coming for the first time. It's possible that the user gets confused. Like there is high likelihood that the user is going to get confused, and this is validated from you doing user testing to see the user. You observe the user while you're doing the user testing. Was the user confused when they got to the dashboard? So that's where you're able to capture that here. So then select and add product. For instance, if the user click on select and add products, the user is able to see all the product listing with dates they were added, because this is a supermarket. You want to capture the dates the products were added. You want to see how long the dates the products are spent in the supermarket. Input selling price. You want to put the price you want the item to be sold. How much do you want for if you are like you're adding product inventory. Let's not forget what we are the user journey, let's not forget the journey, or let me say the touch point of the user journey, which is to add product to the inventory by an admin. So if they're adding the product to inventory, they need to like input the price. They need to check the status. Will they put out this product as active? Is this product available, or is this product finished? Or all of those details, like little details. So sees product price. So at this point, the user has achieved what they want to achieve. So you deduce that the user is going to be happy at this stage. Do we have any question? Hello?
No. Super
So
so
okay, so on that, that's it on customer journey map. Like that's an high level explanation. Then we have a site map. This is also a deliverable from UX research. A site map, you are able to like tell where you know what a map is. Like you're able to see where so place is on I don't even know how to explain what map is, but you get what I'm saying. So on a site like this, you're going to like see where you move from to get to anywhere, like how the whole thing look, like a schema of the whole platform. For instance, now for the same FM app, radio app I mentioned again, this is like a site map for it. So you have onboarding. What just happened? Okay. We have onboarding, we have the user, like the sites, you go through the onboarding. You're also able to go to the settings, you're able to see the staff profile, you're able to see FAQs. If you move from the onboarding, you are going straight to the home screen, you are going to the programs queue. You are going to also be able to access the program list through that onboarding. You are going to be able to access. This is basically like the bottom nav, what you are seeing on your home screen. The bottom nav now houses program list, news, live stream, all of those things. So if I am on my home, I'm able to see the radio programs that are happening. I'm able to see the program guide. I'm able to see the news. I'm able to move to live stream. I'm able to move to like option button to choose whether I want to initiate a live stream. Like this is like a path for me to like get to somewhere. Like it's some if you have like a very bogus website, you can have site map so that your user will be able to like know where they should find what they are looking for easily if they want to check the site maps. If you check some sites, you see that they have site map on their site, but it's not everyone that does that, or it's not all sites, but usually for sites that like Amazon, like sites like Amazon, I think Amazon has a site map. So that's all about site map. If we have question, we can signify. I will move on to the next deliverable. Empathy map. Empathy map is basically probably you've observed the user, you want to empathize with the user, you want to like be in the user's shoes so that you'll be able to like build for that user based on the user's emotions and based on the user's wants, based on the user's feel. And you're also able to differentiate, between what the user is saying and what the user is doing, so that you use that to inform the things you are building. For instance, a user is saying, and this is a student of the FM app. I hope I'm able to like have a storyline to this FM app so that you understand better, since it's one product. So the user says, I'm so stressed out, but I can't go home. The user says, I love listening to Inkem's show from Search FM. The name of the app is Search FM. The user says, I'm so done with this course. The user says, I must get A in data structure course. What the user is now doing, the user goes to lectures from Monday to Saturday. The user goes to the gym on Wednesday evenings. The user takes online tutorial from YouTube. The user listens to news once in a while. What the user is thinking, I should call home and complain. Why is school so stressful? I should start going to night classes. All of those things are what the user is thinking. And the user is feeling annoyed with the school activities. I mean, you said the school activities is stressful. That means they are getting annoyed somewhere. The user is scared of carryovers. The user is thinking about going to night classes. The user is probably scared of carryover. The user wants to get A in their courses. The user feels overwhelmed by the amount of material they have to cover. You're able to know all of these things from talking to the user, observing the user, actually listening to them and being in their space. And like some of the things here are not what the user will tell you directly, are things that you'll be able to deduce from observing the users. That's part of the things that empathy map covers. So I'll move on to user flow. Do we have questions so far?
No question.
Am I
No.
talking to myself? Okay, thank you. uh what was that? Yes, please. I don't want to pronounce your name wrong. Dashi, please speak. But you can correct me. Yeah, please speak like you raised your hand, Dashi.
Okay, good evening. So, talking about empathy
Mm-hmm. I can't hear you. Can anyone hear her?
as a should I s-
I think your
can you
network.
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, I said now talking on empathy map. How can I know what the user is thinking about? Like, how can I know?
How can you know what the user is thinking about? This is basically from
Yeah.
you observing the user, like from what the user does and what the user say. You'll be able to like feel like, okay, this is probably what the user is thinking, because if you immerse yourself in their space, they are feeling their pain. So if you feel annoyed doing certain things, it means the user is also going to feel annoyed at some point. That's how you're able to know what the user is thinking.
Okay,
And
okay,
also
thank you.
from, yeah, and also
I
from what they are
understand.
saying and what they're doing. Does anyone have question again? Okay, please speak, Blessing.
Yeah, thank you, Fatima. Based on what the other lady asked now, what of a situation that we used, like they sometimes you see people using Google Forms to ask questions. How would we be able to detect what the user is thinking or feeling?
Now, in this point, you know that you won't be creating an empathy map, because of the kind of data you have. The kind of data you have is is it quantitative? Did you say survey? Did you say survey? Blessing, right?
Yeah, yes, like those ones that they use Google Forms to collect data.
Yes. For surveys now, you'll be able to represent the result of your surveys by probably creating a report, but you won't be able to like know what create empathy map from a survey, because you are getting qualitative data. No, you are getting mostly quantitative data, because you don't stress people writing while filling those forms. So you are basically getting most of the information you're getting from a survey is quantitative data. So it means that you don't have the necessary information to create an empathy map. So all of these deliverables are based on the resources you have as a researcher. Do you have access to the user? Are you in the Can you go to the user space? Are you able to speak with the user? Do you know the user to speak with? Did I answer your question?
All right, yes, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, does anyone have another question? Take that as a cue to move on. So the next thing is user flow, and this user flow here is very, very tiny. So user flow is basically how users are moving from point A to point B. Is different from sitemap. Sitemap is like just a rigid something of how the website look, like a template, or let me say the way I explain what sitemap is. Now for user flow is like user flow is like translation of a customer journey map. Like the buttons I click, if I click on this button, I get this modal. From this modal, if I cancel, I get this view. I'm able to see so and so information on this page. Like that's what user flow is all about. And this user flow it's best, like it's very good for developers, because they will be able to like know what functional how let me say the parts users are taking in the app, and they will know how to like creates infrastructure, or let me say infrastructure, yeah, like back end, all of those back end things. They'll be able to know, like, is there a form here, does the user need to make a decision at this point, is some user flows are not designed like this. Some user flow has all of those data structures we probably learn in computer science courses. If you're a computer science student, data structures are like, you have different symbol for decision, you have different symbol for input, you have different symbol for start, all of those things. User flow can also be represented in that. If you go to Figma community and type user flow, you are going to see different types of user flows. If we don't have question, I'll move on to the next one, which is user stories. So user stories how do I explain it? They are just let me say things the user said. Like, for instance, you captured a quote. Where is that quote? You can
I can't hear her again. No. Can you people hear her?
Can we still hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
I think I
I
lost
can hear
it.
you now.
You said? Did somebody say
I
something?
can, I can hear you now. I can hear you now. You went off
Okay.
a little bit. Mm,
Yeah, I lost network for a moment.
okay.
Yeah, so user stories are like on the user level, like you've observed the user, or you've spoken with the user, and you know directly what the user wants to do. So it has a template that would actually help you know that you have a user story, you have a valid user story, and user story help you validate or narrow down the features you should build in an app. For instance, now this is the template. As a person, I want to do dash or that or dash and dash, so that I'll be able to achieve dash and dash. That's how the structure of a user story is. So I'm using that Search FM app. As a student, I want to be up to date with school activities so that I can focus on my academic studies. So if I want to focus on school activities, I want to be up to date with school activity. That means I need the Search FM app to be listening to. So I'll be able to know what features to build. Like, that means I know that there should be an audio something in the app. Like, are you getting the story, like the storyline, like how user story is helping you inform what to build in a platform or in a product? Can you get?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what, for instance, now let's say as a mentee, what will I use to sample now? As a mentee, I need these slides so that I would be able to reference it later. You referencing it later, yeah, you're actually doing something with the slides. That's a story, that's a user story on your level as a user. So that, like, those user story actually helps you, it reduces your work, you reduce your workload, because you are building directly from what the user wants, like from how the user presented what they want. Like, it's more structured. You didn't have, not like you didn't do all of those researches, but this gives you this validation. You want to know that you are building the right thing, or you are building for the user, or the user actually wants this thing you are building, or the user is going to need this thing you are building. So we have do we understand user stories? Or do
Yes.
we have question? Then we have information architecture. Did I pronounce your name well earlier? Is it Dashi?
Yes. My name is Lois, actually. That's my
Oh,
surname.
sorry, Lois. Okay, so information architecture has to do with, like, it's kind of like a content strategy, like how you present the information on your website or on your products or on platform, like how users are able to find what they want to find, like how users are able to find what they are looking for on your platform, and what parts are they taking, what cues are they taking to get those information. So I made instance. Okay, what did I put here? This refers to how a user perceive information on a platform or website under content strategy. Like, for instance, if I read something from a hero section, how what will I do next? Is that thing informing enough? Is that thing a trigger enough for me to click on the button? That's under information architecture. How you arrange that information. Do you need on the nav bar? Do you need to put about us? Is it after about us that you are going to put news? Like all of those things. If you are able to picture the thing, what I'm explaining, that's information architecture. It's just like normal architecture. We have normal architecture of having of real estate. We have archi. How will I use that to explain now? Give me a moment. You have an architect to design the floor, the plan for you. So the architect in turn gives that to another person to build, or let me say bricklayer, or I don't know the terms they use, but if you can get the picture of what I'm trying to explain here, like you've kept the bedroom where you're supposed to keep the bedroom, that the owners of the apartment will like it or be able to find the bedroom. You kept the windows where it's appropriate. The owners of they are able to get ventilation at the appropriate time whenever they want to. Like, that's information architecture. And information architecture is actually a very vital thing for your website, because if users are not able to get find what they are looking for, or they don't get what you're communicating on your platform, I don't think whatever design you have, whether it's design is very beautiful, it won't do anything, which is why it's part of a deliverable from UX research. I think that this is not the presentation of information architecture. I don't have it here, but I think after all my explanation, I think we'll be able to like do some practical things, or look for things that you have questions on. Then I'll drill down on them. For instance, government use a lot of abbreviations. Like, I think all of you can attest that governments do use a lot of abbreviations, right? Can we hear me?
Yes.
So if those abbreviations should be used probably on Instagram, the same abbreviation governments are using, government bodies are using, if those abbreviations are used on Twitter, or if those abbreviations are used on a website you go to buy something, would you understand what's going on the platform? Like, and this information architecture also help you prioritize on the kind of information you should present to the user. Like, is this necessary at this point in this state, at this point in time? Would this information be necessary to the user? What would be the outcome of this information? Like, what influence does this information have on the user? That's all under information architecture. Then we have wireframe, the final one. Wireframe, I believe we all know what wireframes are and what sketches are. Right?
I'm not.
Personally, I know sketches, but I don't know wireframes.
Okay. Wireframe is more like a digital sketch. Like, it's like a low low fidelity. Do you understand the word low fidelity and high fidelity? Like, have you come across the word low fidelity? So that I won't use that word to explain wireframe
No.
and it's not making sense to you.
No.
Okay, let me say wireframes are like a template you design, or you've deduced on how you think a platform should look like. Look at what I have on my screen. Like, this person sketch starts your trip. This looks like hand drawn something. That's your trip. This is like a sketch. This is also how you want to call it. If you like, call it sketch. It's still, if it's still wireframe, or it's still a low fidelity, let me say low fidelity prototype. That's how it looks. Or anything that is doesn't have colors, it doesn't have is not well fleshed out, but you're able to see the structure of that thing. It's under wireframe or low fidelity designs. So for instance, this now you are able to see that on this screen I should have star strip on the screen, and I should have a button with this type of arrow on it. That's you getting informed from all of those your researches that this is the content that is required on this first page of this app. And you, at this point, you also be able to test, is it proper for me to have this first screen? Like, is this screen necessary? Is the user resonating with this first screen? What will convert on this first screen? Like, will I acquire the user if the user clicks on will the user click on that button? Those are the things you'll be able to test. So it also helps you not go and design, very fine design at the end. If you test it, you now start doing back and forth of redesigning or reviewing the UI again. If you test from your wireframe, like if you test at a wireframe level. And you can also research on, like, you can just write on Google what a wireframe is, and you get explanation of what it means. Probably better than what I've explained, but I hope I was able to like communicate what wireframes and sketches, give you idea of what they probably mean.
Yes.
All right. I think that's all. That's all. Thank you for listening. So I would love to know, like, I would love us to interact based on what we've learned or what we've discussed. Did you note down things that stood out to you, and why did it stood out to you? Do you have questions and all of those things? Yeah, we can start from question level. Do you have questions so far? Yes, please, Blessing, go ahead.
Please, my question is around the site map and the information architecture. Like, it's looking like they are the same.
Okay,
Maybe you can point out the difference. Thank you.
Okay. Let me share my screen. I'm going to share with us like a view from something I worked on. A view information architecture. Information architecture is basically like the arrangement of things on the platform, as well as how the user perceive those things on the platform. Do they make sense to the user? Well, the sitemap is just rigid, like it's not going into details what the content of that page is. Am I communicating? Like, sitemap doesn't concern itself with the content on the page or on the design. It only concerns itself with like the links to go to where you're going, the links that are on the platform, like the touch points on the platform. So let me look for the UI to share information architecture. Share. Okay, so this is an example of information architecture. So I have homepage. Can we see my screen, by the way?
Yes, please, I can.
Okay, so this is an information architecture of a marketplace for, I told you we build decentralized app for creators in the new web. So this is like something I work on at my work. It's block assets. So this is landing page for block asset. Like this on the landing page now. What's the content on the landing page? This is the link to that. So information architecture now, it helps me, like, say on the hero section, like let me say the header. I have the hero section. I'm also able to have search on the hero section. I'm also able to the next thing I should see after the hero section is it should be new releases. After I've seen new releases, I should see what's trending on the platform. After I've seen what's trending on the platform, I should see featured, like who are we featuring on the platform? Are we the creators we are featuring? Then I have CTA somewhere, and that says become a contributor. I have the footer. So now, if it was a sitemap, I won't go deep into what's the content of the web page. Like there's no any. I'm not going through like whether there is a hero section or there is no hero section, or there is a button or there's no button. It's basically the touch points, like the rooms. Like, let me use rooms. Like the rooms I have to enter to in a house, but I don't necessarily know whether there is a door to the room. No, there is actually a door to the room, but I don't necessarily know what's inside the room. But I know that there's room here and there's room there and there's room there. Like that's what it does. So, like on the landing page now, if it was a sitemap, I don't need to go into details that there is NFTs, we have DAOs as categories, we have metaverse as category, we have more drop down that will let you see all categories and all of those things. Was I able to answer your question?
Yes, very well. Thank you. I get
You're
it.
most
Now.
welcome. Who has question again? I saw somebody raise hand earlier.
You've answered the question.
Okay. Do we have more questions? Please ask questions. That's how you'll be able to like what's the English? If you get what I'm saying. Ask questions. Yeah. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, so I wanted to ask. Now, is it after your findings that you get to represent it on either personas or sitemap, empathy maps? Is it after your findings
Yes and not and no. Yes and no. Why I said
that
yes
you do
is
all those things?
are you still talking? You can continue if like I've not gotten your question clearly. Luis, right? Luis. Did I get your question right? Can you hear me?
Sorry, my network was bad.
Okay. Do you want to repeat your question, or I got your question because I was trying to interpret the question you asked? Moving on. From our question, I hope she can hear me though. From
I can hear you now. My network was
okay, sorry,
bad.
okay. Yes, I said yes and no. Yes, in the sense that there are times that you are going to use like your best judgment to decide on or to create these deliverables. Then you in turn need to like carry out either usability testing or carry out user interviews. For instance, you created a persona. You just create, for instance, I gave you a brief to design something. Based on the brief I gave you, you're able to know that this is our target users and this is what the users want to achieve. And the users, you're also able to identify that. Excuse me. You're also able to identify that these users are this application is for users that are above 40 years. Like from what we are building, that thing is for people that are above 40 years old, or that thing is for babies or for children. So that means you have idea of who this person is, the person you are building for. You have idea of who the person is. So yeah, you'll be able to create persona at this point. So when you create persona, and you now get an audience with the user, or you try to find the user and you speak to them, whatever you do after that will help you validate what you have on the persona. So if something is wrong there, you can just go and edit it out. you have a valid persona after that. So the times that you have to create them pre-research is your post-research is what helps you validate them, because it depends on the resources you have. Some projects you might not even get to do research deeply as you would want to do because of the some constraint, probably the client budgets. The clients didn't pay enough money to do some things, so you would probably not need to do some things. Just and you also want to like give the person based on the scope. It depends on the project and it depends on the problem before you actually know which findings they are going to have. And definitely, yeah, they are going to give you brief. If they don't give you brief, you are going to also make research. Like simple Google search, you'll be able to get idea of what you are doing. I hope I was able to answer your question.
Yes, very well. Thank you.
1 second. Do we have more questions? Do we have more question? Question. Please, if you have questions, don't be shy to ask, really. But then, if we don't ask, I would use that as the cue that you understood everything, and I'm free to give you any kind of assignment based on what I've just taught. Am I free to do that? Can we hear me? Am I free to do that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm going to show us our assignment. I'm going to show the assignment before it's going to be shared with us later. Okay, so this assignment is like a progressive assignment from what you've learned so far, like what you've been learning. You've learned the fundamentals of UI UX design. You've learned what like typography. You've learned all of those things. You've learned basically design thinking, all of those things. So, and then coupled with what you learned today about research. So the assignment is you should check out. We're going to group you guys to group you. I don't know the number yet. So per group, you are going to take one platform. Is it that you take kiosks, Army, depending on the platform they ballot your group. So you are going to carry out UX evaluation on the platform designated to your group from above. Then apply everything you've learned so far to make decisions. This decision entails what kind of research method you want to employ to solve the problem you identified in the platform. The UX design deliverable that will help you actually design beautiful interfaces. And I think I've explained the necessary research method that best suits the problem you're solving. And you can also do mock interviews among yourself. For instance, you don't have users to interview. You can represent the user. You can research on how this user is supposed to behave, how this user does things, and you can be that user, answer questions like the user. Yeah, basically wearing the user. So you can do mock interviews among yourself just to like have idea in case you don't have access to users. And then if you actually go through the platform, that means you're a user of that platform. You've experienced that platform. So you will say that you're not the real user. You're actually a user because you have to use the platform to know the problem on the platform. So that means you people are eligible to do mock interviews and everything else you want to do as research is concerned. So do we have any questions? I want to believe this is what we can handle. Am I talking to myself? Like, am I alone here? It's lonely.
I don't have any question.
Okay. Is there anything else that's supposed to be done that I'm not done? I mean, this is my first time here. Help me out here. If you are not answering, please respond. Let me know if it's safe to say that's the end of the class or something.
It's still the same. It's still the same.
What's still the same?
It's still the
Sorry.
same. Thank you. Like there is no the way your pattern of teaching and our previous teacher is the same.
Okay. Thank you.
Just that this is more of a bit. It's not really practical in the kind of way. More like you have to study very well to know. Because we are not doing design in this case.
Yes. Okay, I'm hoping
Thank
tomorrow.
you.
Yeah, I'm hoping tomorrow we'll be able to like do practical of what we discussed today. Like we are going to practice doing interview. Like you can interview me or I will interview you. Like we pretend that we are doing interviews, or we can pretend that I'm observing you guys using a platform. I can give you a link to go through. You'll be presenting your screen. So that will give you idea of how all of those things are done, and that will serve as the practical for this class. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yes.
I hope you enjoyed the class today and you like what we've done so far and you benefited from the class.
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much for all your feedbacks. We'll meet tomorrow.
When are
Let's
we
stop
going
it.
to be grouped?
You said?
When are we going to be divided into groups so that we can stand?
Okay. Yeah, I can share the slide on Slack. How did you stop this recording? If I get your question correctly, you said when are you going to be grouped, right?
Yes, thank you.
I will discuss that with Manuel today and get your details from the admins so that we'll group you and you get started with your assignments. I've been stopping this recording and it's not stopping. Okay.